I find myself reliving every single detail of our last night together like a movie that plays in my mind on a never-ending loop. The way your touch lingered, the way our hearts synced, it's something I'll never forget. There are moments I can't shake, moments from that night that have wrapped themselves around my soul. I close my eyes and I can still feel your breath on my skin, your whispered words echoing in my heart. Every time I think of you, it's like I'm transported back to that night. The intensity of it, the way time seemed to stop. Nothing else mattered but us in that perfect moment. I can't help but wonder if you think about it too. If that night left as deep an impression on your heart as it did on mine. I wasn't ready for the feelings it awakened in me. I never thought a single night could change everything. But the connection we shared, the electricity in the air, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. And now I can't stop replaying it in my mind. I keep replaying that night, every touch, every glance, every word. It's haunting me in the best way possible, but it also leaves me aching for more. That night wasn't just physical, it was emotional, spiritual. It felt like our souls were intertwined, like we were made for that moment, and now I'm left longing for more. There was something about the way you looked at me, something raw, so vulnerable. I've never felt more connected to someone in my entire life, and I can't stop thinking about it. It's strange how one night can hold so much power, how it can leave you reeling, breathless, and yearning for a moment you know you'll never get back. But I'd give anything to relive it. Our last night together was more than just a memory. It was a revelation. It showed me how deep my feelings for you run, and now I can't stop wondering what comes next. The way your hands moved, the way your lips found mine, it was like we were meant to be in that moment, as if the universe had aligned just for us. I keep asking myself if that night meant as much to you as it did to me. I can't stop thinking about how perfect it felt, how everything else faded away except for us. I've never been one to dwell on the past, but our last night together keeps pulling me back. It was so much more than just a fleeting moment. It was something profound, something unforgettable. I'm not sure if it's your touch, your words, or the way you looked at me, but something from that night has captured my heart. I find myself craving it, yearning for more of what we shared. There was a tenderness in your embrace that night, something that spoke louder than words. It's been on my mind ever since, a feeling I can't quite shake, a desire I can't ignore. That night was like a dream, one I never wanted to wake up from. Now that I'm back to reality, I find myself longing for that closeness, that intensity, that connection we had. The silence between us that night said more than any words ever could. It was in the way we moved together, the way we breathed in sync. I can't get it out of my head. I wasn't prepared for the way that night would affect me. It's left a mark on my heart, one that I carry with me every day. I can't help but wonder if you feel the same. I still feel the warmth of your body next to mine, the way your heartbeat seemed to echo in my own chest. That night was everything, and I haven't been able to think about anything else since. Sometimes I catch myself lost in thought, remembering how it felt to be so close to you, how the world outside seemed to disappear. That night was magic, and I wish I could relive it. It's funny how one night can change everything, how it can open your eyes to feelings you didn't even know you had. That night with you, it's something I'll never forget. I can still taste the sweetness of that night, the way we melted into each other, like we were the only two people in the world. I keep thinking about it, hoping that it wasn't the end. The way you held me that night, the way we fit together so perfectly, it's been running through my mind ever since. I've never felt more alive than I did in that moment. I find myself drawn back to that night, to the way everything just clicked between us. It felt like a glimpse of something bigger, something I never want to let go of. I've been thinking about the way you whispered my name, the way your hands traced my skin, like you were memorizing every inch of me. It's a memory I hold close, one that keeps me up at night. That night, it wasn't just about passion. It was about connection, about finding something real in a world full of fleeting moments. I can't stop thinking about it, about you. Our last night together was like a fire that still burns in my heart. The intensity of it, the way we came together, it's something I never want to forget. I've been holding on to that night, playing it over in my mind like a favorite song. The way you made me feel, the way we were in sync, I can't stop thinking about it. The way you touched me that night, it wasn't just physical, it was like you were touching my soul. And now I can't help but crave more of that connection, more of you. That night was like nothing I've ever experienced before. It was raw, it was real, and it left me wanting more, more of your touch, more of your presence, more of us. I can't help but wonder if that night was a turning point for us, if it meant as much to you as it did to me. It's been on my mind ever since, and I can't seem to let it go. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back there with you in that perfect moment. That night has consumed my thoughts, leaving me wondering what could come next. I still feel the weight of your gaze, the way you looked at me like I was the only person in the world. That night was everything I didn't know I needed, and now I can't stop thinking about it. That night wasn't just a memory, it was a promise of something deeper, something worth holding on to. I can't stop thinking about it, about us, about what could be. I never expected one night to change the way I see you, the way I feel about you. But now I can't stop thinking about the way we connected, the way it felt to be with you. There was a tenderness in your touch that night, something that's been replaying in my mind ever since. It was more than just a moment, it was a revelation. I keep replaying the way your hands moved over my skin, the way your lips found mine like they belonged there. That night was everything, and I can't stop thinking about it. The way we fit together, the way we moved as one, it's a memory I hold close to my heart. I find myself thinking about it constantly, wondering if you feel the same. I've been lost in thoughts of that night, of the way we connected on a level I've never experienced before. It's something I can't seem to shake, something I don't want to let go of. I never imagined one night could leave such a lasting impression on me, but here I am, unable to stop thinking about the way we were together, the way it felt to be with you. That night wasn't just about the physical, it was about something deeper, something that's stayed with me ever since. I can't stop thinking about it, about us. I've been reliving every moment of that night in my mind, from the way your hand found mine to the way we melted into each other. It's a memory I can't escape, nor do I want to. I've never felt more alive than I did that night, never felt more connected to someone. It's something I can't stop thinking about, something I don't want to forget. The way you held me that night, like I was the most important person in the world, it's been on my mind ever since. I can't help but wonder if you feel the same. I keep thinking about that night, about the way everything seemed to fall into place between us. It was perfect, and I can't stop replaying it in my mind. That night was more than just a moment. It was a glimpse into something deeper, something real. I can't stop thinking about it, about you, about what comes next.